By the year 2000, you definitely established yourself as a professional and as a member of the team and the squad at Liverpool. But you were then sold to Leeds United. How did that move come about, and how did that sit with you, given it was at a time probably where you wasn't as in love with Leeds as you are now?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I always say, for me, when you're at Liverpool and you move club, you always think the only way is going to be down here when you're going from Liverpool, because that's the way I've seen Liverpool. When you've come through the ranks, you know the club inside out. You've been there for how many years? I've been there since I was 10 years old, right the way through the whole system, and then to be believing. But the bizarre thing about that was I just signed a 5-year contract like days before I left for Leeds, or left for talks with other clubs, and it was quite weird for me, because the last game I actually played for Liverpool, if my memory serves me right, obviously I've had a few issues in my memory, is the last game I played was against Inter Milan in a friendly towards the end of that last season before I left for Leeds for Liverpool. I think it was a 5-0 win, and I was thinking, have I done the right thing here? But and I knew at that point I had a slight injury in my knee, and I was kind of keeping it a little bit quiet, because I thought, if anything, if the move does come, and because obviously they kind of said they were signing Christian Ziege, and he was going to play in my position, play ahead of me, which I was a bit gutted about, to be honest, because I thought, in my opinion, I was good enough to certainly be up against him, one of us getting a game. And Gerrard kind of thought that Christian Ziege was a better player, which is the way it should be. I understand how it works, and he probably might be. He was obviously a very good player, a lot of caps for Germany and stuff. So I was just a bit gutted to leave. And then when you get the opportunity to go and maybe have a chat with other clubs after Liverpool, they didn't ever say to me what we wanted to get rid of you. They never wanted to do that. They always wanted to keep me. And even, I think, obviously, I had a couple of conversations with Gerard Houllier, and he actually said to me, him and my agent, Stu Marshall, who's the guy I've always been with all my life, doing my deals for my agent and for my work like that. Stu and Gerard were very, very close, and he always says he thinks he might have made a mistake when I left Liverpool, because I probably think for the next 2 or 3 years after that, that's when they see real improvement in me as a player. So sometimes it takes players. For me, it took me till probably I got to 24 before you probably seen the best of me. I know some players think it comes quite quick. If you look at Michael Owen, he was 17, just absolutely ripping up everything. Players like that. But with me, it was never going to be like that. It was going to be a slow process. Work my way into the team, which I did. I was in and out. I had a lot of injuries as a young player. I was quite skinny, and I wasn't well. I maybe didn't look after myself like I should have done. But the thing I always remember is that for me, when I was leaving Liverpool for Leeds, it was an emotional roller coaster that was bonkers, because it happens. Them moves happen so quick. I literally had a meeting to tell you a little bit about what first happened was. So I'm in the Malmaison Hotel in Leeds. So I'm sat, and I thought we'll have a glass while we're waiting. Me and my agent Struan. So we've been through a lot together since we've grown up, and we're still friends to this day, and we still talk and do stuff together. And he said, "We'll get a couple of beers, just have a little chill." David O'Leary was on his way over. Trying to think who else. I think Peter Risdale, was on his way, obviously, at that point. And we had a couple of sherbets, and then David came over with Peter Risdale, and I think at the time there was another. I can't think of the other guy who was in the room, but there was like 3 people. The negotiations were going on. The deal was done pretty quick. I had interest to go to quite a few clubs to move to different clubs, and Leeds just felt right. And I was like, this feels weird, because I just felt so gutted that I was leaving Liverpool. Then Leeds came along. It was just like the fit just worked, and I knew that they were an up and coming team. They were building something under young manager at that point, David O'Leary. So it was kind of things were falling into place for me. Even at that first point, I was probably thinking, this is happening too fast for me. Can maybe go back to Liverpool. That's how I generally felt, because when you got that affinity for a club, it's just ingrained in you. But when I signed for Leeds straight away, the first day I had before I'd even signed, I had a little night out. That night I'd met with the Risdale and O'Leary. This is how it was back then. I'm trying to think who it was now. The player, Lee Bowyer, who was always in trouble. Bo got fined for missing training or being late for training or something. Got quite a hefty fine. So usually I had to take all the boys out for dinner, buy them drinks or whatever. And that was kind of my first night with all the Leeds boys. So we kind of went to a restaurant called BB's, is well known in Leeds. And we all went in there and we all had a few drinks and a few scoops, and they were talking about the movie. Are you coming and all this? And they were quite excited about it, which was nice. It's a nice feeling. Had a couple of scoops, which led to a few more scoops. And next thing you know, we're in Majestic, some bizarre mental nightclub in Leeds, which used to be very famous. And we're all in there, whatever time it was. Next thing you know, I'm back into training and I've got to do a medical. I knew my knee wasn't great, but I just thought I'll just get on with it anyway. I wasn't looking forward to doing this training session because Eddie Gray, the legend Eddie Gray, he was obviously a coach at that point, and I was thinking he's going to be taking me for my fitness test. And Eddie was fitter than any of us, even though he was probably in his 60s at that point. And he took me out for a test, and he was running me all over the place. But I had this knee problem. So I kind of got through it and just mentioned it to Eddie at the end, kind of, I've got a little bit of a niggle in my knee, but I don't think it's anything serious. And then by the time this had all happened, sorry I'm going on, it kind of evolved that I'd met Risdale and my agent and a few others. I would kind of got the deal done before I'd gone to the hospital for my scans to make sure everything was all right. So I'd already signed. So next thing you know, I'm in Leeds Hospital. And I'm having all the scans to make sure the medical could go through. And then he said that the physio, Dave Hancock, who works out in America now, he's at Chelsea as well, great young physio at that point, and helped me a lot with stuff over the last year or two. He was like, well, Dom, he says, I said, I know I've just got to know you and we're getting on well, but I'm going to have to tell you something. You failed this medical, so I can't pass you, so I'm gonna have to go back to the club. So I just said jokingly, it's all right, I've already signed. So he was like, what? You've already signed? Well, why are we doing the medical then? I went, I don't know. You just told me to come and do it, so I did it. You know what I mean? That's how daft I was as well. And I probably had a couple of sherbets, like you said, the night before. So it was like, right, okay. So I actually failed that medical, but I'd already done the deal. And to be fair to Risdale and O'Leary, they both said to me after that, they said, we were signing you for 5 years anyway. So we knew we were going to get the game time out with you that we wanted, and we knew you'd improve the squad. Because that's all I wanted to hear. Someone wanted me and someone that thought they could improve me. That was music to my ears. And that is what got me over the line to go to Leeds, and absolutely loved it, and still do to this day. It's still my favourite place to go to. I mean, it's a great night out. I always going back to drinking and nights out, but I just mean, like, in general, the people in Leeds, they're just like, they're a bit bonkers, which I love because I'm a bit bonkers. So it's kind of like, I just felt like the connection was there straight away with the Leeds people. And I think because I was always out and about around people like that. I think it's quite a natural thing when but when you're in the limelight, people think, oh, he's being a bit busy or whatever. I wasn't being busy. I generally enjoyed being around people talking about football like we are now. As you say, can't get me off, can you? It's like, I like talking about football, and especially, at that era as well. It was just great. And I just love being around Leeds as a city, and I still do to this day.